Welcome to Olds Mob 455. We've come to the point where all the metal work is done, all the Bondo work is done, and priming and heavy primer and sanding it out. It would have been boring. You've probably seen a million shows like that. But now we're happy just to get all these parts bolted back on. It's starting to look like a car again. Plus it frees up a lot of space in the garage. If you ever worked in a garage and you got confined space, well, pretty soon, it just gets ridiculous trying to move around. So we got all that bolted on, and what's funny is everything on this car is heavy duty, and it's a lot of real estate compared to small little cars that you have now. So when you take on even just a fender, it's a lot of time just doing one big fender. And out of all this heavy car, you got to come up and look at this inner wheel well where they thought they were going to save weight. Normally you'd have a sheet metal inner wheel well and you'd have them sandblasted, primed, painted, but these are plastic. So by the time you end up doing the interior, you're going to have we over restored it with base coat, clear coat, black here. Some people say, man, that's not stock. Everything should be chassis black or whatever. He's doing it the way he wants to do it, okay? So the firewall and this are gonna be black. This is always gonna be a duller black because it's just plastic, okay? The chassis is like a satin black, right? So you got a couple different blacks going on. Now, we tried to get the gaps as good as possible. You gotta make sure that when the door opens up, you don't catch the fender. The roof line has been blocked out once already. There are a few spots that you can see low, but he's going to put another coat of heavy primer on there. And then, when you walk up to a car, this is what you see and across the top. And if it's a hot sunny day, the shadows go on, you look and you can see waves in it, it's going to be, embarrassing. If you do a full paint job, you'd rather have it perfectly like glass going across. Then we got to do this, sand it out. And, it's just going to be priming and painting from now on. And then he's sending it away to a different guy to paint it.
Yeah, we tried that plastic resurfacer, and it was just kind of shiny, and I don't know. I'm worried it would chip off there, so we're just gonna. We tried everything on the shelves on those goof off, simple green,
lacquer thinner, all kinds of stuff. They're pretty durable. I thought the lacquer thinner would have melted the plastic, but it's real strong. But we got paint that was on there off, and we've got rust that was on there, and it was a lot of work just to clean up those inner wheel wells. It's just really bizarre.
Here's a look down this side.
So these, if you're ever familiar with working on these, there's these, this is what the strength of your A-pillar is, and then there's a channel that goes on over here. So over on that side, you can see where you got to use seam sealer and that little beautification plate or whatever you'd call it, a filler panel, makes it look like a real structure after it's done and the glass is all in. Because right now I don't even know it would be a angle iron, 2 angle irons if you're thinking in that shape. That's what gives this thing its strength. It's not a round box or anything. So to give it some definition, they got these little strips. Everything's been painted in here so you won't get rust. Then when you put this deal on, you gotta seam seal it right at that split line. When we took them off, they were fully filled with seam sealer. They were hard to get off. Now my old Laguna had vinyl top. So it had like a texture on here, like it looked like vinyl. And when I went to go taking it apart, I was like, what the heck is this? This is cheap. It seemed real cheap to me that it was this panel in here. But you have to have the door open in order to put it on. But that gives it a little bit beefier look to it after you got it together.
I think that base coat, clear coat turned out really nice in this core support. I kind of wish I would have done that with the firewall, but she is what it is at this point.
Right. Never paint a car on the inside flat black. I did that when I was younger. And it's like every time you're doing a valve adjustment or whatever, and you got the rockers off and you get an oil spatter, the flat black just absorbs that oil. And then here you're trying to get it off with, you know, some kind of cleaner, and all of a sudden all the paint's coming off. You gotta have to use a gloss paint, and it seals better. So after we get it all ready to go, and it's assembled more and it looks more like we'll have the hood on it and all that, then we'll have a picture of it when it's going down the road, and then we'll get you pictures when it comes back. So that just is the beginning of it. After you have your shell all painted, then you have to assemble everything that's been taken off so it's a functioning car. That all takes time too. There are so many people that have cars sitting in the garages. You can watch shows like Garage Squad. And a guy went through all this stuff. Ripping them apart is easy. Then they take it to a body shop, get them done, and then they sit in the garage for years, and finally the wife calls and says, "Garage Squad, could you come and help put this thing together?" And it's just, it seems like a daunting task. And when you have somebody there with you to hold the glass and put it in, get seals on and all that, and put a heater box in there and get that all going, wiring is always a drag. Everybody hates doing wiring. Some people like it. And we're going to be putting the battery in the back. We're going to try shifting weight backward, so it's coming up easier up front. We're going to put a big engine in here.
All right, we'll see you guys in the next one.